Hi, Tony Jibster here, and it's time for an update. It's been about 11 months since I started cycling this tank, and it's been about 10 months since I added livestock. A lot's been going on in the past couple months. I've had to deal with bubble algae, Bryopsis, hair algae, Dino, diatoms, and I had a bit of a landscape change. So let's get to it. First, bubble algae. I mentioned in my last video that I was dealing with it and trying to remove it. My original attempts to remove it, I think I probably spread it more because I was breaking the bubbles and I was a little clumsy with it. Since then, I've gotten a little bit better at siphoning them out as I break them off. I also added an emerald crab to help with the fight, and he's been pretty good. Now I see a bubble pop up somewhere and I keep an eye on it, and a couple days later it's usually gone, so I think he's staying on top of it. Now I also had some Bryopsis and hair algae growing on one of the rocks up here in the front. My GSP was attached only in a couple spots, and underneath it there was some real wiry looking hair algae growing and what looked like Bryopsis growing right across, interspersed within the polyps. They would snap right off when I tried to clean them, so I could never get them all the way off. I tried treating it with Kent's Tech M by raising the magnesium, and I did that for a couple weeks and I didn't really notice much improvement. So then I went to the nuclear option. I pulled the rock, removed most of the GSP that was on it, and I dipped the whole rock in hydrogen peroxide. The hydrogen peroxide did kill off the Bryopsis and hair algae, and some of the GSP did survive that also. I also had pulsing xenia on the rock, which originally I thought was gone, but within a week or so that started growing back. I had hoped the GSP would survive a little bit better through the dip, but I knew it was going to be a risk when I did it, and I thought I could live with not having it if I did lose it. But I really did miss it once it was gone. That really seemed to balance the tank for me. So what I did is I picked up a few frags of metallic green star polyp, and I'm going to add them into the new scape, which I'll talk more about later. Now, while I was fighting the Bryopsis, I mentioned that I used Kent's Tech M, so I had magnesium way up high, and at the same time, I also decided to go from instant ocean to reef crystals as my salt. I'm not sure if it was the changes in the magnesium or the new salt, but as the Bryopsis disappeared, Dino and diatoms took hold. To treat it, I cut back on the lighting, and I also try to limit how much food I'm giving the fish. My main action is brushing the rocks and vacuuming it right up, vacuuming the gravel bed. I let the vacuum siphon go right into a filter sock in the sump, and then I pull that out as soon as I'm done. As long as it looks under control, I'm not going to worry much else about it. Sometimes the corrective action often leads to other issues, so hopefully the tank will find its own balance. Now, once I had killed off the Bryopsis and most of my GMP and pulsing xenia, the right side of my tank was looking kind of boring. I broke up the two of the rocks that were on the right side of the tank and then moved them around a bit. Now the rock in the back has the xenia and GSP growing back, as well as the new addition, daisy polyps. These seem to be growing really fast. Within about 3 weeks it went from 5 heads to 12 heads now, so I'm hoping that the polyps and the xenia will grow tall in the back and kind of fill in that back corner and give me some depth back there. I attached my favia to the front rock and added 3 frags of the metallic GSP, which I mentioned earlier. I hope that GSP will cover the rest of the rock. I'm happy with the little winding path that now divides the tank. I think it adds some character, so I'm pleased with it. Hopefully it works out. And I had some new additions since we last talked. I found a nice torch at my LFS with 3 heads on it. I also picked up some assorted mushrooms and the daisy polyps and a metallic GSP, which we just talked about. All the fish are doing well. They're nearing their first birthday, so that's something to look forward to. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you want to hear future updates on the system. And remember, I'm not an expert in anything. So please do your own research before making changes to your system. Take care and God bless.